Michelle Kreber.
Yay!
Monique Kreber.
Yay!
And the ever-talented Michael Kreber.
Yay! MG.
So,
Power grippers.
you guys ready?
Yes.
No? Ready? Right.
Yep.
Are you sure?
The good question is, what did you guys do to break into the industry?
Ah!
Uh-oh.
Hi. There we go.
Remember microphone kid.
Yeah, microphone.
What did I do? Well, man, I've been doing music and performing and such since I was very little, and my parents would, you know, would put the stuff that me and my brother did forward. They would reach out to people, contact them and such. But after I left Alaska, I didn't do music anymore. I went into the Navy. I went into the Navy SEAL program, and then I broke my leg, and then I ended up in music again anyway. But how I got to doing what I'm doing now is I started making content. I started writing songs and doing animations and art, and I did it purely for fun, to just stuff to do in my downtime because it was entertaining. I didn't have any other motive behind it, and this stuff, some of it started getting popular, and people liked it, and some people reached out to me, and then I went to Vancouver when I got out of the Navy and started working with these human beings in this pony. And
wasn't Tabitha the one that?
Tabitha was the first person to actually reach out to me. Tabitha St. Germain. She saw my Proud to Be a Brony remix video or whatever, and said, you need to be famous. You need to be famous. That's what she said. That was very nice of her. But then, yeah, she introduced me to her agent, but then introduced me to her agent, and all this stuff happened. And now I'm doing what I'm doing. But in summary, I did stuff. That's how I got into doing what I'm doing. I did stuff.
I know that you do because mostly I was influenced by mom and dad. I grew up in a very, very musical household. It was just full of fun and songs all the time and just everything. Speaking in accents and improvising, just doing all that kind of stuff. And the first gig was when I was 4, and I was the voice of a swan or something like that.
I think it was a swan.
A project that on a project that Dad was working on. Oh, this mic is like
It's got a man of its own.
fluctuates. So that's how I got into it, the voice acting, because of that project that I was working with. So yeah, that's how I don't know. See, I'm just so tired, but nothing I'm saying is eloquent right now.
Yes,
And there's just a lot of different things. Like there's voice acting, and then there's theater, and there's film and TV, and it all kind of just combines together. And because I had that very musical childhood, it was like a foundation for everything else. So I just kind of gradually squeezed my way into the world. And just, yeah.
That's how everyone is.
That's how everyone's gonna say.
You did most of the squeezing.
In the normal way.
On that note, I think actually Michael was the same, but we were both from families where our parents weren't professional musicians or entertainers of any kind, and we were both the oldest children in our families, and so it was a different process because we had to forge the way, and so some of you might be in that situation too, where you don't come from a family that inspires that. So I did training in keyboard playing and that kind of thing, and I liked singing from when I was really young, and I think one of the things that I can say the most is that doing as much as you can in anything that's related to what you're doing is important. So I liked public speaking, I liked singing, I liked musical theater, I liked acting. I didn't do dancing, although I wish I had it, and Michelle does a lot of dancing, which has really enhanced a lot of her performance stuff. But I just got involved in all those areas. I got involved with recording vocals and recording voices. I did performances in theater as an actor and as a singer, and you know, those eventually, I taught music as well. I taught keyboards, and then eventually started teaching singing and performance coaching and voiceover coaching and all that kind of thing. So it expands, but you know, initially I got involved by getting into lessons and by trying to get involved with as many performances and projects as I could. That was a long time ago, so I'll let Michael speak for himself.
Yeah, my process, as I'm older than most people in this room, has been different and longer. And I grew up at a time when it was fairly practical to make your living playing music. And in North America, that has changed a lot. I'm not sure about England and Europe, but when I came up, you could play music for a living 6 nights a week. So I basically trained after many years of classical piano playing. I trained on the job in rock bands, folk bands, jazz, and I started touring. In my late 20s, I joined the Irish Rovers, and we traveled all around the world, doing concerts in Australia, New Zealand, Europe, and all over North America. I joined Katie Lang, who was a famous kind of country pop star, and you probably heard her here. And Rafi, who was a children's entertainer. So I kind of went through a succession of touring organizations, and on the way I learned about recording and songwriting and all those things. So I was lucky enough to learn on the job. A lot of those things are not as easy to do now. So, you know, what I tell people now is just, it's the same as I would have said then, find out everything you can learn about your area. If you want to be in the movie business, learn about directing, learning about how to be a script assistant, learn how to set up the lights, learn every aspect you can, and be versatile, so that you can still stay in the business you want to be in, but you might be doing a different job next week than you're doing this week. But keep focusing on what your dream is and trying to make that true. But the more versatile, the more you can understand about the whole picture, the more meaningful all your work becomes, and the more useful you can be to the business that you're in. So that's kind of what I recommend, although I can't recommend the process I went through, which was to go to music school and to study classical piano for years and years, because it's not the same. You need now to have an internet presence, you need to have a totally new set of tools. Every year the tools change that you're using online and to promote yourself and all the things that you're doing. So I'm very thankful for the process, because I've been able to be a musician and almost make a living. You know, I've been able to make a living. So I've been very lucky. But it's a different picture now, at least in the music business. So that's my little spiel.
So, how did you guys start promoting yourself when you were starting out, when you're like, I need to promote myself?
YouTube. Yeah, well, yes, I said the poop, Michelle. That's what I said.
Oh, shame.
No, well, I guess the big thing to kind of add to what you said is that, you know, the industry's completely changed with the internet. It used to be that there was no other way for your work to be heard, for your music to be heard, if you weren't on the TV and the radio and you needed people getting you there. Now, everybody has a computer in their house. But before, everyone had a TV, everyone has a TV and a computer. Everyone can look up anything that you put out there. Problem is now, there is so much out there that you have to rise above, you know, or just be noticed, you know, by people. So content is important, the quality of content is important, being unique or kind of having your own unique thing. But there's some luck involved too. But mostly I would just say you need to make sure that you consistently promote yourself. You want people to know what you can do. And the way I promoted myself primarily was YouTube. But initially I started on DeviantArt just doing drawings and for fun. And in fact, the first song that I wrote in the Brony fan, probably Brony, I uploaded to DeviantArt. Because DeviantArt doesn't allow you to upload music, I wrote a Flash program that I put the song on that I uploaded to DeviantArt. And it was a really rudimentary player. And then someone made a video of it and put it on YouTube. I was like, wow, why didn't I do that?
That would have been simpler.
It would, but I figured, you know, people know me from DeviantArt, so that's where I'll put it. Yeah, and now I'm a YouTube thingy, so I did more on that.
Mom is our manager, and she's really, really good about that stuff. I'm kind of a little bit more useless. So,
A little bit more useless? That implies I'm useless.
You're not useless, Michelle.
More useless than you.
so I don't know. I'd say,
What was the question?
What do you do to
What
promote
do you do to
yourself?
promote yourself?
Michelle,
One good thing is to get somebody who's really competent at managing.
I was just going to say that. Because I am not competent.
Confident.
English, it's coming back. Competent.
We do have English in Canada. We do. We do
not,
speak
Yes.
not English.
It's just like
related.
You know. So yeah, definitely if you know somebody, well, first of all, if you want to get into voice acting and stuff like that, you can contact my mom. She's fantastic. She can help you with voice acting, whatever you want to do. And she can do like Skype calls and all that dandy stuff. So yeah, if you find someone like my mom or other people, then get some consultations. There's so many people online. You can just do your research and just take some time to figure it out. Because it's not just going to happen like he was saying, is that anyone can find it, but it's a question of how they're going to find it. How are they going to see it? So
Right.
you need someone to help you with that. You need someone to promote you.
I want to do an analogy. Fine.
An analogy that I like to use is
The
that,
tree fall.
no, well, that's a good one. Michelle's gonna say, if a tree falls in the woods, does it make sound? Oh, that's more existential. But like Michael Jackson, you know, could have uploaded a song to YouTube under a different name and not promoted it, and he's Michael Jackson, and it could be the best song ever, but no one would find it, no one would know. You know, promotion, a lot of people think that talent speaks for itself, not always. You have to be heard before someone can realize you're talented. So, yeah, and it's a process. Everything rises.
I think, to add what both of them have said, marketing is probably one of the most important things that you need to know if you're going to be in the entertainment industry, or any industry where you are basically self-employed or looking for your own work. But that is very much true of the entertainment industry. And if you can take courses, which of course now you can even online, you can take free courses, or you can go to the library and get books, or watch videos on YouTube for just about anything, and just really do your homework on current marketing strategies, and particularly utilizing social media is something that's extremely important. If you are doing things as an independent artist of any kind, that is the #1 thing outside of your art that you really need to realize is important and to take the time to learn. So, decide what it's going to be, but get good at it and practice it. And honestly, I can tell you that in this industry now, Michael and I have been in the industry for a few decades, and we have friends and colleagues who are amazingly good at what they do. Some of the ones I'm thinking of right now are musicians, like some of the top players in North America who have credits that would just blow your mind. We know audio engineers in this kind of situation as well, amazing engineers from big time studios. People that are incredibly good at what they do and that are now in a situation where they have no work. And the reason why they have no work is, yes, the industry has changed, but the main reason is that they did not change with it. So they didn't think that having a website was ever going to be an important thing, or they didn't think learning social media was going to be an important thing, or they didn't think learning digital recording was going to take off, and they were amazing at analog recording, but they never kept up with the times. So it's important to know that the industry and that technology is changing our world so fast. If you don't stay up with that, you can get left in the dust quite quickly. So really being aware of what people are, you know, who your audience is, a potential audience for what you're trying to do, and then if, you know, where you're going to reach those people, how you, as they were saying, how you're going to get noticed by those people that are your potential audience, and then really learn that part of the industry. So I can't stress enough that it just really comes down to what Gabe said first. You can have all sorts of great things going on, but if no one's noticing it and it's not rising, you know, rising above where people are noticing it, then it's not going to matter. The art is going to not be seen or not be heard unless you can figure out a way to start building up a following and making yourself stand out in the crowd.
Yeah, that's all really good, and I can corroborate what Monique's been saying about that. In our generation, we'll have quite a few good friends that are just plain out of work because they were specialists in a time when change was so rapid. For example, she's speaking of an engineer, an old friend of mine and I recorded countless records with this fellow, and he was an old school engineer, and I don't know if any of you have ever seen 2-inch audio tape. I don't know if you have it, probably some of you still have 2-inch.
On reels.
On reels, and these machines cost, you know, probably $200,000 or $300,000 back in the day, and they're rare now. And the whole technology, hardly anybody even knows how to operate them, but all the records were made on those machines as soon as they came into power in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and then they just disappeared once digital came in. So these guys were specialists in that, and this one fellow I know now works in a liquor store in our neighborhood, and he's got gold records all across his wall, but it doesn't buy him a cup of coffee now. So it's, as Monique was saying, as much as you can to keep up with times, which evolve very quickly now. And you're all in a generation where you've been born in the digital world, so it's easier for you to stay with it. So all that Monique said, I would second all that. I would add one little thing for this long answer that we're giving. In any business like this, whether it's music, voiceover, acting, all the things you might love to do, establish a reputation where you can be relied upon. So many of you are very, very talented, but what can happen is if you get known for being late for work, or for not always doing your best, or having a bad attitude, or not cooperating with others. A lot of it's just how you work with people. And so building a reputation is why you get called again for the next job. So in this business, it's rare to have one job. Michelle has been very fortunate. She's got a job with a great, what we would call a great gig. My Little Pony is a great gig. But it's still a finite gig, and it might only go for 20 or 25 seasons, maybe only, or might only go for 7. Most series don't go that long, She just did a series on TV, this Straight Empire. We all thought, oh, they'll renew this. It's so great. She worked the whole summer long. Every year we drove just every day.
Every 6 months.
It was 6 months of work. And we thought, this is going to go on. It's so good. Everybody loves this. The critics loved it. And so we're waiting for months and months. They're going to renew it. Nope. They did not renew it. It's gone. It's over. Unless someone should pick it up. So the business is like that. You have to be adaptable. You have to be aware that one job is finite. It will last so long. And then you've got to work on something new. So anything you can do to keep your reputation intact, if you say you're going to do something, do that. Cooperate with others, keep your contracts, do all those things that enable you to develop a reputation where people will speak highly of you. So that's just one thing to add.
Well, thank you. Do you think it's important to prepare or train your abilities before delivering that demo tape to then throw it out there?
Well, I think that answer is dependent on the person. I know people who have done extensive training at their craft, and that has contributed greatly to what they're able to do. I also know people who, like Gabe, for example, who has no training. And no, I'm serious.
So
formal training. In terms of, as a singer, he's a great singer. He has high-level professional singing abilities that have nothing to do with having ever taken singing lessons or gone to school for that. He's got a ton of experience and he's got a ton of talent, and it's just he hasn't needed that kind of training. But there are other people who will go through and train like crazy, like they're professional students that are training for years and years, and that can work for for them too. So I don't think there is one answer for that. But I will say, very briefly, that in the entertainment industry, very rarely is a formal education going to be the thing that gets you the gig. It might be the thing if it's a tie, it might be a tiebreaker if it's between two people, but almost never do we say, do you have a degree in vocal, or do you have a voice degree, or a piano degree, or an audio engineering degree, any of those things, or an acting degree, any of them. We very rarely cast people because they have training, or offer them work because they have training. We do it if they have the level of ability that we want to see, and that there's someone we want to work with because of what Michael said, with they have a great attitude and a great work ethic. And I personally do not have any degree. I've never lost work because I did not have a degree in all these years. I've never once been asked, and they don't care. They just know if I'm good at something, then I get hired for the job, and it doesn't matter. So that's not to say you shouldn't go to school. I'm not saying that. You should if you want to, but don't think that all that's going to do is going to enhance. That's not going to get you the work in most things in the entertainment industry.
I agree with that.
Well, does anyone out there have any questions that they would like to ask? Anyone? How to see the question?
Well, I can.
We can't have answered them all.
I can expand on that.
Yes.
If not, yes, go ahead.
The thing is, I have an ambition to become a cartoon writer, and I'm trying so many different things. I'm trying writing to the studios, I'm trying sending them emails and that, but I'm either getting replies or nothing. And I wouldn't mind being a voice actor either, because I believe I can do big Macintosh if you just give me a chance to do so.
Right.
You know, so if Peter and you had a busy day, I could just take over.
Well, actually you've highlighted a couple of important things in what you just asked, which is how do you navigate the system to follow? So you said, did you guys hear what he was saying? Okay, so how do you navigate the system? That's really important. And unfortunately, there's no easy answer to how you navigate the system, because it's not like an occupation where you go, okay, to be a doctor, I need to get this degree, I need to, do my practicum here, I need to, there's a very sort of specific avenue that you have to go down to do that. In the entertainment industry, there's a million avenues that go in different places, and there's no manual. There's no easy way to go, this is how I get to that end. But I guess there's two really important things to say about that. One is that you do have to identify what your goal is, and because there's so many goals, and there's so many roads to each one. So for example, in singing, a lot of people think that if they want to be a singer, that they have to get specific vocal training, and usually what they think they need is traditional classical training. And the reality is that traditional classical training will be great if you want to be an opera singer, but it's not going to work so well for you if you want to be a pop singer, or a jazz singer, or a rock singer. So even within that, I want to be a singer. Okay, what kind of singer do you want to be? Because the road could be vastly different depending on what kind of singer. Or if you want to, sorry, what was the first thing that you said?
Well, I'm trying to be a cartoon writer.
A cartoon writer.
I just don't know what I'm doing wrong, really.
Right. So, okay, so a cartoon writer, and I actually couldn't advise you on that, but what specifically what to do, but what I would advise you to do is to, like Michelle said, consult with people. That is a great way. So find someone who is a cartoon writer who will allow you to book a consultation with them. So, and the world of Skype, as she mentioned, will open that door, because before it might have been, okay, I've got to find someone that lives in my city to do that. Now you could find someone in another city, or even in another country, another continent, as long as the industry works in a similar way where you're looking, but find someone who's doing what you're doing who will consult with you. So that's what I would recommend. Or figure out if there's a place where you can apprentice. So what do you call that when you...
Internship?
What did you say?
An internship?
An internship, that is the exact word I was looking for, yes. Where you can volunteer to assist somebody, that is a fantastic way to learn the industry. Michelle and I often see assistants at her TV and film auditions, the people that are taking your forms when you come in, and they're saying, okay, you're going to be up next, Michelle, blah, blah, blah. Those people are almost always actors who are doing an internship for the casting director, and that is giving them invaluable inside scoop as to how the industry works. And then, the next time she's on a project...
bias for that, with that casting director too.
That's right, an invaluable bias with that casting director, because they're often the readers in the room where they're reading the other characters, and then the casting is like giving them a chance over and over again to audition for the casting director. So it's an internship is a great way too to really learn what's going on, and look for a writer and say, can I volunteer for the summer, or can I volunteer for once a week, or is there someone that would accept your help? If it's someone that you think is in a position that's doing something that you'd like to be doing, that's a great way to figure out exactly what that is, and to kind of get your foot in the door. Your hoof in the door.
Okay.
Anyway, sorry, that was
Thanks,
long.
Monique. Thank you.
Bob.
Would you advocate having some sort of portfolio?
Advocate having a portfolio? Well, absolutely. I mean, I guess it depends on what's your definition of a portfolio?
Well, I mean, it could be anything from, for classroom writing, I presume have different types of writing you've done, or examples, or in your case, I suppose it would be previous jobs, experience, or things that you've done that maybe you didn't get paid for, so that you've done in your spare time that
Yes.
you show video of, or audio clips.
Absolutely, yes.
Absolutely. Demo reels.
Absolutely.
Yeah, all that yes, exactly. Gabe was saying, demo reels, or artist's visual portfolio. I've been reading quite a few articles recently that are still saying, from different sources, that the website is still your #1 marketing tool.
Well, you can put anything on the website. I'd say that's why a website is your #1
Yes.
marketing tool, because you can tailor it to be exactly what you want to be out there. Using having a YouTube channel is great, but if you're confined to uploading videos and having the exact same parameters set by YouTube that everyone else has to conform to. On a website, yeah, you could put your portfolio up there. You can make that super prominent, the first thing people see when they go on. Basically your own personal.
Well, and it can be like your clearinghouse of, it's got the links to all your other things. So it's not, because a lot of times when you're talking to somebody and you're thinking, okay, they ask for a sample of your work, or you want to tell them that there's a place to go see your work, should I tell them about my Facebook page, or should I tell them about my YouTube channel, or about this? If you have a good website, you should be able to send them there, and they should be able to have links to everything, even if doesn't all live there. Michelle and Gabe both have new websites right now, actually, that we built with the extreme help of this IT expert over here. And if you go there, so there's michellecreever.com and blackgriffin.com, or gabrielcbrown.com, at least the same place, you will see reels, demo reels of the various things that they do, acting and comedy and voiceover, and then when you go there, you'll also have a link to their YouTube channels, to their Twitter, to Facebook, all the social media. You'll see photographs, what else? Contact information for how to get a hold of them. So, and that would, a portfolio would be a great place, a website would be a great place to have a portfolio live as well.
Yes.
So before the website, particularly with the YouTube stuff, and how do you have these hints of tricks to use to promote yourself on the sort of social media side?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question, because it's tough to promote yourself if you don't have an audience to begin with, right?
Yeah.
It's tough to promote to people, if there's no one following. Like what I use now is, you upload a video on YouTube and your subscribers will see it. But I have multiple, social media presences, accounts, online, and I will promote on all of them. If I put out a new song, I'll do a cover art for it almost always. I'll upload that cover art to DeviantArt with a link to the song. Say a new song's out, link to the song, yada yada. and then I'll tweet about it, and I'll tweet about it for several days, because, you know, you can be following someone, but you're not going to keep up with every tweet that they tweet, and if they say something, you know, and you're watching a panel, or watching a TV show, or sleeping, or something like that, you're not going to see it. So it doesn't, you know, in my experience, it doesn't really annoy people that much if you tweet about the same thing multiple times, if you just keep it interesting, if you mix it up a little bit so it doesn't seem like spamming. But yeah, just, I don't know if I would recommend having lots of different accounts, but if you do have different accounts, try to keep them under the same name so everybody knows that it's you.
Oh, yeah.
And then, yeah, and then just push to all of those accounts and tell people that you know, and try and, you know, eventually, it takes time, but if what you're putting out is something that people want to see, you will build a fan base. It's just, you will. But it does take time. Yeah. Promotional time.
And actually, oh sorry. Did you
No, I was.
Do you want to say?
I want to say something. Question is, will my brain
What?
let me?
Did you want to have a nap?
Make sure I close my eyes for like 10 seconds.
How many of you guys have experienced jet lag? Like, so you know what that's like, right? Where you just feel completely like you're sedated.
Plus, I don't drink coffee. Apparently that helps, but I would never.
I am afraid if you ever start drinking.
Tea.
Either of them drink coffee, I'd be afraid.
And I
if you
haven't
did.
had sugar today, so now I'm just like.
What?
I can suggest a following dish.
What'd you say?
Well, that's tea.
Yeah, tea. Tea and biscuits.
Just to quickly add to what Dave said, it is really important that you do link everything together. So it's amazing how many times someone will send them a message and say, on Facebook or Twitter or wherever, and say, hey, could you check out my YouTube channel? And there's no link. Or you go to the YouTube channel and you might want to say something back to them, but there's no link to their contact, or there's no link back to the, like everything. So quality, not quantity, like what he was saying with the multiple things. Don't have 10 different social media accounts if you can't stay on top of them. You know, pick one or two. Have YouTube and Twitter, or YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, whatever. But make sure that you're on top of those. Make sure that your YouTube comments actually has some contact information, or sorry, your description, and your profile, that it's complete, that you have photographs, that you have ways that people can reach you and start identifying with you. Wow, you just got chocolate on the table.
Oh, Jesus.
What a nice daddy.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Can I just check something? I was just curious about the relationship between a performer and their agent or their manager. Just can you talk a little bit about that? Because
Yes.
my son's an actor, does arts films and bits and pieces, but they're getting the balance with keeping the reputation strong, not upsetting people, but not even going to school for a while, and being very difficult. Just how do you manage, what's the expectation just going to have?
So, just want to make sure I understand your question correctly. So your son's an actor, and does some film and TV work.
Yes.
Okay, and he has an agent already, or
He does have an agent already.
Yeah.
And I suppose it's about expectations of that agent.
Okay.
I'm particularly interested in how you balance pushing, being progressive, and whatever adjective you can go with, or now you go with.
Yeah, and you're talking about pushing the agent to.
Yes.
Yes, I know. Yeah.
Going into the leave me alone and stalking through.
Okay, and how did you acquire the agent that you have right now?
That was through a film studio, so it was through recommendation, actually, from just doing a bit of homework and somebody recommending someone.
Okay, well that's good. That's good to have it that way. I guess, okay, well first of all, just at the end, if I say something and I haven't addressed everything, just ask me to fill in what I missed. But I think that, so for film and TV and to do the bigger network voiceover jobs, you have to have an agent. And just a very quick summary of how that works is that in the industry, when there's a production company that's creating a project, they put out their production or their project to a cast. They hire a casting director, and then the casting director casts the project. And the casting director then, so let's say I'm making a new a new animation show, and I need to cast the voice talent for it. Then I hire a casting directing company that are going to bring in people for the auditions. And the casting directing company will then put out a breakdown to all the agents. And a breakdown is, thank you, that's a good question. The breakdown is just a description of the project. It's like a short summary, a synopsis of what the storyline or the premise of the project is, and then a list of all the characters that they have to cast and a description of those characters. And they put that out, and then the agents look through the description and say, "Oh, hey, look, there's a teenage girl character in here," and then they look through their roster and they say, "Oh, Michelle Prever could be a potential for that, and I have, you know, these 3 girls that might be up for that." And then there's a guy, "Oh, that would work well for Gabriel Brown," whatever. So they decide on their roster who they want to pitch for the project. They give their submissions to the casting director, and then the casting director usually is working on a limited budget, so they can't bring in hundreds of people unless, like the Harry Potter thing that happened in London this week, that was an open call casting where they're committing a whole bunch of time and money to seeing thousands of people, and then maybe at the end of the day they'll find someone for this new role that they're looking for. But generally speaking, they're on a limited budget. So they got, you know, I've got 1 hour to cast this character. Okay, this is a huge lead in a new movie. I might take 2 days or 2 weeks to cast this character, but it's all done on a very strict budget. So then they decide who they're going to see for the audition, and then the appointments are made through the agent, and then the agent you know, gives you your appointment time, you go in, you do your audition. If they want to see you again, they might tell your agent they want you for a callback, or sometimes it's many callbacks. The first Disney movie, the first movie Michelle did was a Disney movie, and I think she did 7 callbacks for that before she got the role. And then it wasn't the role she started out auditioning for, but she did get a role. And so it can be complicated. And then if they want to book you, then the agent's job is to negotiate your contract for you. So the agent generally is the person who does all the business part of things. Whereas a manager, like what I am, the manager looks after the artist. So the artist's public profile, what's that?
Helps with advertising.
Helps with that. Yeah, but actually, why don't you say what you think, the manager?
Yeah. From my experience, you know, my agent is the person that people contact. You know, if they're looking for talent and if she thinks I'm suited for that role, she will submit me. I can't be submitted without my agent to projects, because they wouldn't reach out to me. They only reach out to agents to look for the talent, and that is strictly what I feel that my agent does. She's just there to get me in front of the people that want to see, you know, anyone who she thinks would have the ability that the casting director is looking for. A manager is more personal in that they are pushing you. You know,
and guiding you.
Guiding you, yeah. Pushing sounds like you're being pushy, but I don't mean it in that way. They're putting you forward. They're helping to advertise you, and they know. They usually, I feel like, you know more about my abilities and the stuff that I can do, and you're able to talk to people and say, yes, well, Gabe does this. You know, and you go to places where you meet people and you help me make connections and stuff like that. My agent's got a lot of people on her roster. She knows what I can do, but she's not going to go out of her way to kind of talk about me to people or go to meetings to help me make connections and stuff like that, because she's got a lot of people on her roster that she'd have to do that for. She's just going to be like, oh, here I have an audition for a, you know, male in his early 20s, you know, who does this. And she'll be like, all right, that sounds like I have 2 clients who do that. She'll submit me and another guy that are on her roster, and then we'll get to audition. So yeah, is that?
Yeah, and just to go to a bit more of what you were asking about. So with an agent, first of all, and I assume that the agent that you have, it sounds like it's a legitimate agent, but if you ever see an advertisement or like a print ad or a TV or radio ad or a poster where they advertise a course where you can go and do a weekend workshop or something like that with some training, and that they're going to connect you with agents at these workshops, and then they'll drop a whole bunch of really big actor names on the posters. Almost always those are scams, okay, those kinds of things. If you get an agent who is charging you money to become your agent, it is not a legitimate agent. Agents work under commission, so they have you on their roster because they believe in your abilities. Now, and if they say no, that doesn't mean necessarily that they don't believe in your abilities. It might mean that, okay, I've already got 10 guys in their early 20s on my roster, so I don't have room for you in that slot. So you might have to find another agent that has a need for a guy that age in their roster. So, but what they will have you there for is because you fill that part of their roster out, and they make money when you make money. So at first, if they see your talent, Michelle's first agent, I don't think, made anything for a whole year, and they kept working for her because they believed in her talent. And then when she started booking stuff, then it starts to pay off for them. So that's the relationship there. Agents shouldn't charge money, and if they are, usually they're not real agents, or they're not doing things that, make sure they're certified, that they're a licensed agency that is actually tapped into the real industry. That's really important. And then, sorry, you asked one other part about, and then pushing your agent you asked about. Are you feeling like the agent is not submitting your son for as many things as they could be, or?
I think that the trouble is, I have no yardstick to know
Yeah.
how much should be and shouldn't be, so it's really hard to judge.
Yeah. It is hard, and it is hard. Gosh, I've been through this. I feel your pain with that, because it's sometimes you just, we've been through that with some agents too over the years, where you go, well, I'm not actually sure they're doing their job because someone else is telling me about a project that would have been perfect, but yet how come I auditioned for that project? Or I've heard a lot of casting directors say that there's no reason why you can't be checking with the agent each week to say, so what's happening? Is there anything new this week? Or can I get some feedback on how the last few auditions went? And just have a regular conversation with them about, sorry, can I ask how old your son is? 14, okay, so it's very similar. Michelle's 15.
The feedback they won't volunteer unless you ask.
Yeah, feedback often you never get it unless you ask, and feedback can be invaluable to improve things for the next time. But ultimately, if you feel like you can't connect, and have that kind of conversation with the agent, or you feel like they're not doing what they could be doing for your son, there's no reason why you can't look for a new agent. It's like a doctor. If you don't have a good connection with your doctor, find a new doctor that you feel like you can communicate with. But I would never leave one until you find a new one, because you don't want to be without one.
That's true.
Does that answer some things? Yeah. You did?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Okay, so we have about 5 minutes left, so yes.
I was wondering, when you were first starting in the industry, how difficult did you find sort of balance between promoting yourself, getting yourself out there, making content, and having a semblance of a normal life?
Very good question.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I've been lucky. I've had a really great life and a lot of great things I'm very thankful for. But one of the things, I'm thinking of all these different things, and all of the thoughts in my head are like clouds right now, but my hand is like a foot away from them, and it just can't quite reach it.
Yeah.
So I'm just failing to say sentences. I was homeschooled. Okay. Since grade 5. Yeah, I've never really had a completely normal life, but we've never had a formula of, okay, you get up at 8, you go to school, you come back, you do your homework, you watch TV, you go to bed. No, it's never been my life ever. We have dinner at one day 6, the next day 10:30. It's all over the map, and it's so much fun. And so I've never really had a very formulated, restricted life, and I've just kind of gone with the flow, and it always changes. And I mean, I've kept a good balance. Like, I still have a lot of time to spend with my friends, and I'm lucky that I also get to work with one of my best friends. And so it's I don't know, I've never had a normal life, but at the same time I have. It's just, that's my normal. It's just getting to, you know, not having to travel and work every single day. Sometimes I have breaks, which is nice. And I'm not going to continue talking, or else I'm going to end up talking about the hippos in space.
The mermaids.
If I could just add to that, I think maybe part of the question was how much of your working time. I mean, these days, promotion should be part of your work. So if you think, you know, in the old days, people put an 8-hour day or 10-hour day, and you're self-employed for yourself, and you've got 8 hours, well, X number of those hours should be in promotion. So you're developing your talent, whether it be art or music or acting, in say 4 or 5 or 6 of those hours. The other 2, you'd be promoting. You'd be working on your website. You'd be liaising with people that have knowledge for you, all those other things. And then, but you still need to have a life. You need to have private time. Does that answer it all? It's always about balancing. It's in everything you do. It's about balancing the needs of your day. But these days, for somebody in the arts, promotion is a very large part of it. In fact, I'm a film composer, and I'm not very good at schmoozing, unfortunately. But the guys I know who are successful, it's about 50% of your time. So you're in your studio, you're writing your film score, you're looking at video, you're creating lovely music, and for 4 hours, at the other 4, you're going to meet producers, directors, talking to people, parties, anything where you can meet people who make films. At 50%, that's an extremely large, and I don't particularly like it. I'd rather be in my studio doing the music all the time. So you need to balance yourself so you can get out there, meet people, talk to people online, wherever you do it in your field, and to promote yourself.
I was just going to add one other little thing too, speaking of not having a normal life, I mean, I guess that's, or an average life, is that you really need to know, I have met some people, I have actually had people come and consult with me about wanting to be in the film industry or the music industry or the voice acting industry, and then I explain, you know, how it works and answer their questions, and it becomes clear that they are a type of personality who needs to have their life very regulated. That they want to know, you know, well, when will it get to the point where I will know that I consistently have this going on? And the answer is never. It never happens. So it really, you cannot be in this industry without having a thick skin, because there's a lot of rejection, tons of rejection that it's tempting to always take personally, and you probably should never take it personally. It's just you're not the right person for that job at that time. But you need a thick skin, and you need to be flexible, and you need to, you know,
I'm actually ready for plans to change like that.
Plans change quickly. You may think you know what your schedule is for tomorrow, and then your agent calls and says, I've got an audition for you, it's tomorrow at 10, she sends you the breakdown, and it's 10 pages of script that you have to have memorized and do a good job of by tomorrow at 10 a.m. And you need to be able to do that. Or you think that you have the next month off, and then you get the call that you just booked a movie, and actually you're going to be working an hour away 6 days a week for the next month. Or you have to fly out of town suddenly. Or you have to sit there thinking, how am I going to pay my rent next month? I have no idea. And just pray on a hope and a prayer, or whatever that expression is, that you know, that something's going to come in. So it's not at all for the faint of heart, or for people who really rely on having a rigid existence. And I don't mean to make rigid sound like a bad thing, but some people really need to know their schedule, and you don't know your schedule in this industry. I think that's really it. And Gabe, you had a similar unpredictable upbringing too, right? It's like
it's very similar. There's a famous Monty Python sketch, do you know? Sorry,
I don't know what those old days, but there's a great sketch in which I think it's Michael Palin comes in, and he's clearly an accountant. He's very, very proper, and he's the kind of person that should have a regular 9-to-5 job. But he comes in, and John Cleese, I believe it's John Cleese, is interviewing, and ask him, so why do you want to be a lion tamer? And that's an extreme case, but in this is the case where he should be an accountant because he does need that kind of regularity. He should be working on it. He'd be happier than in the lion taming business.
All right, well, that's our panel. There will be another autograph session in conference room 5, immediately following this.
But most importantly, the
But most important,
concert.
there's a concert at 7 o'clock in this room.
Yes.
Here at the
I'm sorry I didn't say much. I tried.
It's okay, Michelle. It's okay.
Every question passed on like, oh.
We understand. We understand. Bean.